and it's cold outside. For those of you who weren't listening closely, I opened my door and closed my door, and it's cold outside, which makes that a cold open. We're running out of ideas.
So, can I take 15 seconds to make fun of the state of Texas? Sorry to...
I believe you were threatened in the YouTube comments because you were making fun of the state of Texas. Just so you, like, it's already out there.
So, yeah, I'm aware. My church admin's son is currently doing, like, a formative part of a new job that he's gotten. He's doing, like, 3 months in Dallas, which I think Houstonians don't like Dallas anyway, so this should be fine.
Generally correct, yes.
Okay. The city basically shut down for most of a week because of ice. And I saw a tweet yesterday from a beat reporter who covers the Minnesota Timberwolves. There was a sign inside of the arena that the Dallas Mavericks play in that said, "Due to the extreme cold, we are unable to keep the loading bay door open." It was 36 degrees. At the same time in Minnesota, it was below zero. I just would like the people of Texas to know, you will survive if you go outside in 36 degrees. It's okay. It's all going to be okay. You may not like
Benjamin.
it, but you will be okay.
No, the reaction I have is people do genuinely adapt to where they are. Because you're right. People down here in Texas freak out when it's like this next weekend it's supposed to be in the 20s. So we get deep freeze warnings. And part of that is because
your houses aren't built for that
temperature.
temperature.
If you're used to warmer weather,
yeah.
It is a lot colder than you're used to. And part of it is also, like, we have a lot of plants out here that you can usually leave out all the time, but when the weather gets abnormally cold, which for us this is abnormally cold, like, there are extra steps you have to take. So that's one of the reasons there's so much news about it. It's not necessarily because people are cold, it's because people own things that need different treatment. Like, I didn't have to winterize my sprinkler system until a week and a half ago. So that's part of it. And, like, you can do the reverse, right? You put a Minnesotan like Ben in the Houston summer, and they're going to be crying the whole time about how much they're sweating.
I wouldn't be crying. I would just be a puddle. I would just cease to exist.
And you'd smell pretty bad.
Yeah.
So that's,
absolutely.
My other reaction is, it is not our fault that your ancestors decided to live in somewhere where the weather is cold enough to kill you. That is your mistake for living there. Don't make us pay for it.
I'm glad you think I have control of the weather, that this is my vindictive plot to freeze you out, but it's not. I'm just saying, like, you could survive.
Your weather is drunk and in my backyard. Come get it.
Sure, Josh. So,
and we're not here to talk about. It's 4 minutes into the show, and I don't even think we've said our names or the name of the show or that. And for those of you listening, you might say, "Well, why doesn't he cut this part out?" I never cut any of it out. The only editing these shows receive is a volume equalization and something that takes out the background noise. That's about it.
Lucky for you. You get to hear all this, all the shenanigans that go on.
But this is cross-checking.
Yep.
I'm one of your hosts, Josh Laborious. I am a pastor down, as you may have picked up, in southeast Texas, down by Houston in Friendswood at Hope Lutheran Church. And with me, as always, is Ben Olschlager. Ben, too many vowels in my last name, Olschlager. Ben, I have a misspelled Jersey, Olschlager. who was a pastor in Lake Orion, Michigan, where it is super cold.
Yeah, they're considering canceling school here tomorrow because it's going to be so cold.
Which, for them, that means it's really bad.
Yeah, I think the air temp at pickup for buses is supposed to be -10.
Yeah, see, that's bad. That's bad.
Even I'll admit that's cold.
I'm pretty sure that you were the North was cursed by a witch at some point, a really bad witch, because negative degrees, that's witchcraft. If that's not witchcraft, I don't know what is. Soup, also witchcraft, by the way.
But it's also only negative in freedom units.
You mean the only units that matter? No, that's not true. It's also negative in Celsius.
Yeah, never mind. I was thinking of
Kelvin. In fact, it gets negative in Celsius before it gets negative in Fahrenheit. It's true.
I was actually thinking of Kelvin, degrees Kelvin.
What a civil engineer. Oh, you're right. We haven't reached the state where matter stops moving yet. Get out of here. Okay, we're here to talk about discipleship. Clearly, we're not disciples of rationality.
That's an accurate statement, yeah.
Anyway. So what are we talking about today, Ben? Let's give the people some resolution here.
That's a great question. So last week we started our new season on discipleship by giving you some background on the things that were formative for Josh and I as we look back at what discipled us into the faith. And this week we want to take a little bit of time to just tell you what a disciple is, because it's a little bit different than any other vocation or role that you will ever have in life. It encompasses a lot of different things, and that will hopefully give us a good starting place where in the coming weeks we can take a look at some of the things that disciple us and some of the different ways in which we're discipled throughout life, or perhaps we're the ones doing the discipling as well. So first things first, what is a disciple? I think, Josh, off the top of your head, can you name all 12 disciples?
Oh, not with confidence.
Okay.
It's on my list of things that like I should definitely know, and I know I should memorize, but they're only listed all together, I think, once.
Is it once or twice? I know
it might be twice.
I'm pretty sure that it's Luke's gospel, I think, that has the complete list, and I thought Matthew's gospel might as well. And I might have that. I might even have that flipped.
Well, and so like I can name a bunch of them.
Yeah.
You have the classic. You have Thomas. You have Judas. You have Peter. You have Andrew, John, Matthew. I think I might be out.
Okay. So
are there two? There are two of one of them.
There's two of
Simon,
two of them.
Maybe.
There's Simon Peter and Simon the Zealot. There's James and John, son of Zebedee. James, son of Alphaeus.
Here we go. I got the list. You're right. It's in Luke.
Judas. I think it's Bartholomew.
Yep.
Are Bartholomew and Thaddeus different people? I can never remember.
Well, I don't see Thaddeus here, so either Bartholomew is Thaddeus.
I think Thaddeus is a different name for one of the other disciples. Okay, Simon, James, John, Bartholomew, Judas.
Simon, who he named Peter, Andrew his brother, James and John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, Simon the Zealot, Judas, son of James, and Judas Iscariot.
Okay.
Who became the traitor.
Perfect. Yeah. Somewhere one of those guys is also named Thaddeus, and I think one of them is also named Judas. Like, that's not Judas Iscariot.
I have to say, just on the names of the disciples, I have warmed up considerably to the term zealot. I think if you had asked me 5-8 years ago how I felt about the term zealot, I would have been like, someone needs to tell those guys to chill out. And now, no, I think I could be aptly described as a zealot, and I'm okay with that. In fact, I think it's pretty cool.
I think
Joshua the Zealot.
I think the biblical zealots would be maybe a little further than you'd want to go.
Correct. Not zealot as in like the weird religious political club.
The
Like zealot is
quasi
in
insurrectionists, Jewish.
zealous
Yeah,
for the Lord.
yeah. That'd be fine. I'd take that title.
Like so, I should say zealous for the right things.
Yeah.
You remember Phineas the Zealot from the Old Testament? Numbers 25, I think. Someone's doing something they shouldn't, and so he walks into the house with a spear and takes care of him. Takes care of the problem.
Yeah. I mean, if you're that kind of zealot, that might be fine. I don't think he gets described as a zealot, but we just covered the King Jehu in 2 Kings in Bible study. I think you could consider him zealous for blood, and that's maybe not the right kind of zealot.
Not quite what we're going for.
Yeah.
But I think disciples, zealotry is maybe not a defining characteristic, but a very closely related one.
Mm.
Because a disciple is, I guess, kind of moving into how I might describe a disciple, is someone who is wholly dedicated to learning from and following someone else. Who is so in the being wholly dedicated, not wholly HOLY, wholly WHOLY.
And also not, wait, is holy as in HO, as in like the hole in your socks, also spelled differently?
That's HOLEY.
That's what I thought. So we're not
hooked on phonics.
It's not that holy either.
Yeah. You are completely dedicated. And that's where very closely related to zealotry. Because I think sometimes discipleship can get limited to part of what it means to be a disciple. So a disciple is just a follower. Well, that's true, but also, or a disciple is just a student, and that's true, but also, so I think that's how someone who is wholly dedicated or completely dedicated to following and learning from another person, another thing.
Yeah, I think I've heard the term apprentice used as a way to describe discipleship in the past, and I kind of like that idea, where you are there to imitate and learn from the one that you are learning from. So if we're doing our best to be a disciple of Jesus, we are learning from the ways in which he acts and the ways in which he does things. And for like an apprentice, that means at 5 o'clock, when your time on the job site is done, you go home. For a disciple, especially back in Jesus' day, there was no time off. It's called bedtime. Like, you imitated.
You were with them.
Yeah. Every aspect of their life.
Maybe I think apprentice is probably more helpful, but closely related might be a mentee, like someone who is receiving mentorship, because if you read a lot of books on intentional mentorship, part of it is like it's a whole life thing. It's not necessarily limited to just formal interactions. So you get a little bit of that. Yeah, and I think it's interesting how I'm going to say something, and I want to see how it lands with you, Ben.
Sure.
I think it's interesting that from what I see and hear, it almost seems like Christian or believer and disciple have become synonyms. And I don't know that they should be. Well, no, they should be. I don't know that they are. I guess you can be a Christian, you can be a believer. And I don't want to say maybe you aren't a disciple, and you can be a really bad disciple. And still, and you can still be saved if you're a bad disciple. You shouldn't be a bad disciple. So that's kind of why I was playing with words a second ago. But just just because you're a believer, I don't think makes you a disciple in the way we have described it.
I think that's a fair way of thinking about this. To me, it's kind of like it's different names for something. Like it's different names that you could assign to the same thing, but each of those names kind of implies something different. They bring different connotations to it, that also kind of help us understand what's going on. Like, so a Christian, literally from the Greek, an anointed one, you are an anointed part of God's family through the waters of holy baptism. Like, or a follower of the anointed one, but close enough. As a believer, well, you believe in something. When used in the Christian term, like you believe in the saving work of Christ for you. Disciple, I think that implies the practical everyday in and out of what it means to be a Christian or what it means to be a believer. But I think you're right that it does bring something else to the table. And in my mind, it's kind of like there are different terms for pastor, right? Pastor, you shepherd the flock. Reverend, your job is, I think, rightly held with, or our job is rightly held with high esteem because we're the ones who are trying to help bring God to the people. Father technically can be used for Lutheran pastors. We prefer not, generally.
It's a little Catholic-y for our taste.
Yeah, more than anything. But like, that's what we're meant to be as father figures in the faith. And like all of these things kind of teach us different aspects of what our job entails as pastors. And can be used synonymously, but they don't mean the same thing. And I think that's kind of where your comment on discipleship lands with me, is that like, yeah, to be a believer means you are also a disciple, but it doesn't mean the same thing. Like these are all aspects of what it is to believe in Jesus Christ and follow him that we need to explore in faith. And I think at times, especially as we think about discipleship, that feels incredibly overwhelming because there's just so much going on there. So maybe the next thing that we need to do is pump the brakes and give ourselves a little grace. Because
I was just about to say, what Romans tells us is that if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved.
Mhm.
Full stop. I mean, not full stop. It's not the last thing that he says in the book, but like the point is made.
Mhm.
So
there's
as
no
we dive
caveats
into
on that.
what it means to be a disciple, at no point should you hear
you aren't
you
good
are
enough.
not forgiven.
Yeah.
Or you are not saved. Okay, and that's why I think it's worth making a little bit of a distinction. Like, you can be a Christian, you can be a believer, you can be saved and be a bad disciple. Now, you shouldn't be, and at some point you do have to consider the conversation that James invites us to have, that faith without works is dead. So like there is a point where you have to say, you believe, but if your belief is genuine, should that not have some kind of impact on how you think about things, what you do, how you speak? And there's a conversation to be had. But as we get into this, what is a disciple? What does it mean to be a disciple?
Mhm.
At no point should you be like, well, I don't do those things, or I don't do those things well, so what does that mean for my salvation? It means very little for your salvation. You are saved because of the work of Christ.
Mhm.
And our discipleship is in response to who he is, not to earn his gifts. Okay, and even if you look at the disciples, and I think this is telling, they follow Jesus because of who he is, not to try and earn something from him. Now, if you think back to the disciples at the point where at least the 12 started following Jesus, it might not have been obvious that he had a whole lot to offer them. He was just a kind of a random traveling preacher. Granted, one that the Holy Spirit gave a stamp of approval at his baptism, but still. But the disciples didn't do it to earn something. The disciples followed Jesus because they saw, at least in part, who he was. And I think that's helpful for us to think about, like, why are we disciples? We're not disciples to earn our salvation. Don't hear that. We are disciples because we see who Jesus is and he is worth following in this way. So
I think, to me, it kind of is reminiscent of like what it's like to be a kid. Because if you have good parents, I think more often than not, parent or kids of good parents come out as good kids. And when it comes to discipleship, we're kind of looking at things through a similar vein of, we have such a good God. It is our desire to be good followers of our good God. In the same way that, like, if you have good parents that love you and care for you deeply, you're more likely to listen to them and go, all right, the things that they are teaching me, if they are good parents to me, and this is what they're trying to get me to know, it's probably worth it for me to hold on to that information. Or it's worth it for me to live in the way that they're encouraging me to live. It's worth it for me to pick up the habits they want me to pick up. I should brush my teeth every day. I should shower because I stink. Teenagers, if you're listening to this, put on deodorant. Or Ian, also wear deodorant. I'm guessing it gets warm in New Mexico.
He lives in Arizona, bud.
Does he?
Huh. I know it's hard to distinguish, but technically they are two different states.
It's just desert. That part of the map to me is just
is just desert.
Just a big orange blob.
They tell me that in Phoenix there are forests and lush areas, but I'm not sure I buy it.
Yeah.
If Sarah or Allison still listen to this podcast, I know.
Anyway,
whatever.
Yeah, like, all that to be said, discipleship is like I think a part of the Christian faith where, rather than on the believer side or on the Christian side, it's not a label that God gives you. It's a label that we are striving to achieve, or to put on ourselves and to achieve for ourselves. But it has no impact on the salvation piece, like Josh said. Just like when you're a kid, you want to be a good kid, and that's a label that you can put on yourself by being a good kid. But there's nothing that can take away the fact that you are the child of your parents.
Right.
Yeah.
Believer is not a title you earn. Believer, Christian, saved. These are not things that are a result of your actions, but a disciple is, I guess, a result of actions, or at very least intent.
Yeah.
I think. So,
or maybe better defined as, like, it is the image of your actions or intent.
Yeah. Or it's something that results from, like, it's a title that can result from.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, so with that kind of being said, what is a disciple? And part of this is because of my background, right? Both my parents are educators, bachelor's degree in education, doctor of education. A big part of of discipleship is learning at the feet of someone.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're disciples of Jesus, if we're disciples of God, maybe is even a better way to put it, we are students of his word. We want to learn who he is, how he behaves. We want to learn about what he has done in the past, how he approaches problems. Like, we want to learn. So part of being a disciple is kind of that. Are you reading the word? Are you learning about the word? Are you learning about God? Do you spend time in study, in Bible classes with other people, learning these things? And I think that if you tell me I am a good disciple and you never go to Bible class, I have questions. I have follow-up questions, and you're probably not going to enjoy them. So for me, that's kind of when I think about describing a disciple, that is a really big part of it for me. Unless I've stolen yours, Ben, what's the biggest part of being a disciple in your estimation?
I think for me, the biggest part of being a disciple is having enough faith to say yes to things. Like, you wake up on a morning in Texas where the world has frozen over and everything feels foreign, and you ask yourself, should I go to church?
So last Sunday.
Yeah, should I go to church today? The answer should be yes. It'll be uncomfortable. The roads are probably going to be slick, and you guys don't know how to use salt on your roads, so that's rough. But you know what? If you can reasonably safely get there, go. Say yes to the Holy Spirit calling you to go join with other believers and worship. If you're being
I am
asked,
willing to emphasize if you can safely go.
Yes. That's why I threw that caveat in there.
If driving on icy roads is just going to get you a one-way ticket to a totaled car, what that means is you're not going to be in worship and you're going to have a totaled car. So at that point, just don't be in worship and avoid the totaled car part.
Yeah. Yes.
Which I guess this is coming out next Monday. Shouldn't be a problem because this weekend we're supposed to get freezing temperatures again, but no precipitation. So put your jacket on.
There you go. I mean, the same thing happens up here in Michigan. Like, if we're under an active tornado warning, don't go to church. But like, if the weather just is a little bit crummy in the summer, it's like 95 degrees at 7 a.m. and you don't want to leave the house, suck it up. We've got air conditioning. We'll make it through. It's better for you to just say yes in faith to the things that you know you need to do, and be willing to do that. I think that's to me a big hallmark of discipleship, and I think that applies to, things like being in worship, like you said, being in Bible study, the little things in life, stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something for your family that you're not accustomed to doing. All those kinds of things too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we start to think about discipleship more for the rest of the season too, and also as we're continuing to define discipleship here, maybe we think about this a little bit more concretely. What are some things that you expect us to talk about this season, Josh? We can go back and listen to this part of the episode as part of our planning process.
Oh, we both know that we're not going to do that.
Hopefully one of us has good memory.
Oh, we can pray about it. For me, the fellowship element, the holistic life, like if you're a disciple, you are not just a disciple at church. You are a disciple at the grocery store. You are a disciple at the restaurant. You are a disciple at the Texans game. So I suspect we'll be talking a lot about that, and that kind of feeds into this element of discipleship that is, you're not just a student, you're also a reflection and emulation of. So we're trying to look like Jesus as much as we can. I think we're going to talk a lot about how discipleship expresses itself in service, in the different relationships that we have with people. So being a disciple, how does that impact your kids, your family, your friends, your community? How does it impact what you do? How does it impact what your hobbies are? How does it impact what you watch, what you listen to, that kind of stuff? Yeah, that's kind of a scatter shot of different directions I would think we're going to end up landing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you're...
And that all kind of goes to the follower, the disciple as a fan, the disciple as a follower, the disciple as a student, the disciple as an example. Like, I think we could, in fact, that might be how I title episodes this season. disciple as blank.
Mm.
I'm really done this time, Ben. You can start talking and I won't cut you off.
No, I was just thinking, like, does that mean when we do episodes on like different stages of life and what discipleship like might look like there, when we get to like your dad's age group, are you going to name this discipleship for old farts or something?
Ha! Oh, I wouldn't do that, because if I call my dad an old fart, there are going to be a handful of people in the congregation who are going to have something to say about that.
Gonna have words. I mean,
well, and I think that,
and it'll make it back to your dad.
Well, I'm not worried about that. Dad's cool. There's certainly something to be said for discipleship looks different in different phases of life. Okay. And just like, we'll do an episode about this, but just to kind of give you a little bit of maybe an illustration as you're listening.
I mean, I think it's the easiest way to say this is just discipleship changes as your life changes. Because,
well, yeah,
when you're a kid,
I want to give a little bit more of an example. Like if you are older and you are not as physically capable as you once were, the service part of your discipleship is probably not going to be
building houses,
major landscaping projects at the church anymore. And your service role might look like more opening your wallet, as blunt as that might sound, like, because a lot of folks who are more advanced in years are in a more stable financial place than someone who's just starting out in their career. So their service might look different, and the service might look more like I'm going to give than I'm going to do. And if you look, someone who's kind of in the middle range, like they may jump into service full hand. And on the other hand, and this might deserve an episode all to itself. There are certain phases of your life where your discipleship might be, you are present to be a target of service for others. Like if you're a young family who doesn't have a lot of supports, so maybe you're here, you're not really close to family, and you have young kids, and you're not young kids, but like elementary school, middle school, high school age, where like you're running all over and there's a ton of stuff to do for the kids and with the kids, and everything is kind of there. That might be the phase of life where your part in discipleship is to be someone that other people can show love and support to. Because I mean, that's a real thing where, maybe just kind of in very general terms, in any given Sunday, the reason that you need to be there might not be for you to do something. It might be so that someone else has someone that they can go out of their way to show love to. And I think it's worth acknowledging that there are times in your life where that might be what your discipleship looks like. Showing up so that other people can love you.
I will say that I think both Josh and I have been through that phase recently, because I feel like any parent who has a newborn infant, you are there for at least a couple weeks. Like between the quantity of diapers and doctor's visits and screaming and everything else as everybody gets settled into a new routine, like it takes some time.
They get you with those doctor visits right at the beginning. They're a lot.
Yeah, especially if your kid isn't gaining weight.
Yeah.
Rosie was just slow on the curve. She's fine now, but we had to go back a couple extra times to get her weighed.
Looking at her dad, she's gonna be okay.
Currently, she's a lean, mean fighting machine, man. I don't know where that came from, but anyway. So I think maybe to kind of help us tie a bow on all of this, we've talked about all these different ways that you can start to think about discipleship. And if you are a listener to this, I would encourage you, think about the ways in which you ponder discipleship in your life, and ask, are there aspects of this that Josh and Ben have talked about today that would be helpful for me to apply as I'm thinking about discipleship in my own life. And then also for Josh and I's sake, if there are aspects of that landed kind of, I don't know, funky on your ear, where you're like, man, I hadn't thought about discipleship in that way before. Let us know so that we can spend time on that and help just kind of
clarify or correct. Like if we misspoke, then obviously we would want to correct that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Like, let us help you.
And you can
help us help you.
Yeah. You can put that in comments, or if it's something that you want to be more one-on-one, you can email either one of us. You can text either one of us. That is easy enough. And if you have any, like, if you listen to this and you're like, oh, this is something I think about with discipleship, and
if it's outside the scope of what we talked about
today, we didn't mention it, like, please put it in the comments, because we're going to take that and make an episode out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Give us more content.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to do anything with the disciples themselves, like talk about what made them good or bad disciples, because I don't know that we have enough material there for more than like Peter, James, and John. But
well, Judas.
Yeah.
He didn't do great.
That's fair.
At the very least, he didn't end great.
Yeah.
And I could speak up in defense of Thomas, but yeah, there are some of those that it's like, I mean, Bartholomew was there, but not to disparage Bartholomew, okay? It's just Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John didn't include a lot of, like, what did Bartholomew do?
Mm-hmm. Or James, son of Alphaeus.
Alpheus. Alf.
Are you going to name your next son Alf now?
No, I'm not. We have a member in the congregation whose last name is Alf, so I wouldn't name my son my first name after his last name, because that would just be weird.
Well, if Alf is listening, I hope he's a good dude. Or she's a good
he is
lady.
A great dude. He fixed my sprinklers.
Oh, nice.
Thanks, I mean, Alf. He's a good dude for other reasons, but like, I genuinely appreciate that he came and helped me out with the sprinklers. I don't think he listens to these. If you do, John, what's up? What's good? But I don't think he does. So with all that being said, what's your empty netter for today on, we'll call it defining discipleship?
I think in terms of like just kind of trying to sum things up a little bit, discipleship is a lot more holistic than we sometimes give it credit for. So be prepared for that throughout this season, and just be open to the fact that there's probably going to be things that we touch on in reference to discipleship that maybe are going to be a little bit uncomfortable, and that's okay.
Challenge is good.
Yeah.
Challenge brings growth.
And I mean, that's going to be for Josh and I too. We're probably going to be squirming a little bit in our own seats as maybe we challenge each other.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I'll kind of just segue right off that for my empty netter. If I were to ask you to take anything away from this, understand that being a disciple is hard, and it's not something to be taken lightly. So like, if you're listening, you're like, and you feel a little overwhelmed, like, that's okay. It is an overwhelming thing. We're going to take it one step at a time. And for the rest of all of our lives, that's all we can do. Just, I mean, I think a good way to think about discipleship is just try to be a little bit better tomorrow than you were today. And if we look at it like that, we'll get somewhere, I guess.
Good question before you close it off today, because I feel like we need to make some sort of hockey reference in at least every other episode in a podcast called Cross-Checking. Are you guys in a playoff spot?
That depends on which way the wind is blowing today. I'll check though. For those of you who are new to this show, first of all, cross-checking is a hockey term. So if you didn't know that,
it's kind of a painful
now you know
one
that.
too. It's when you get a stick across your back.
Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. Someone hits you with the stick, usually in the back. I guess you can get cross-checked in the front, but
yeah, I think
most people have the awareness to avoid that.
Yeah. I think they generally don't call it in the front unless it's to the face, in which case they just call the high stick. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, cross-checking hockey term, but also obviously like we're checking for the cross, focusing on Jesus kind of thing. The logo for the show, that's the Chi Rho, that stands for Christ. Also, a lot of times it's used to stand for the pastoral office, but you'll notice there are hockey sticks in it. So that's why Ben made the comment he did. And currently, as of January 29th, 2026, the Preds are not in a playoff spot. We are 4 points back.
Okay. So I'm going to ask.
We are 4 points out of a wild card spot. Listen, because this is wild. We are 16 points out of the third place in our division.
Which is? Your Minnesota Wild.
No.
Oh, is it the Dallas Stars now? Did we pass the Stars?
Minnesota is second with 70 points. Nice. Colorado is in first with 79. And 3 games in hand.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Colorado's insane.
I wish nothing but good things for Colorado, though. I think they're a pretty reasonable team who is
it's not a
doing things the right way.
Goon squad.
Yeah, they and Nathan McKinnon, as far as generational talents go, is very humble.
Yeah.
He's not like Connor McDavid, who I do not have nice things to say about, so Mama told me not to say anything. Connor, if you listen to this, I'm sorry. Jesus loves you, but calm down, dude.
So can we have Ryan O'Reilly?
No.
Okay. That's all I got.
Brothers and sisters, go in peace. Serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Thank you for listening in to this episode of Cross-Checking, a ministry of Hope and Good Shepherd Lutheran Churches, where we strive to deepen your understanding of the faith and help apply it to daily life. If this podcast is helpful to you, rate the podcast, subscribe to us on your favorite platform, and share it with others who might also gain something from it.